Hi everyone, my name is May Sullivan. I have Tourette syndrome, a dog hair in my mouth, and a service dog. Good, go to bed. So, some other diagnoses I have are depression and complex PTSD, which depression and complex PTSD sends me to the hospital, but only because sometimes I get so depressed about having Tourette syndrome and the way people treat me, I just don't feel like I'm worth living for. But I am, and I'm over that, and I got my medication balanced. Damien is chewing a bone in the background. When is he not? So before I start, I'm going to put a number on the screen. This is the National Suicide Hotline number. If you need it, they are available 24/7. They play terrible jazz music. It goes, one moment. Thank you for calling the National Suicide Hotline. Please stay on the line while we get you a representative. And then the worst jazz music you've ever heard plays. So if you are scared to call them, if you feel like you can't talk to your parents or family, if you're in school, please talk to a school counselor. Find a trusted adult, a teacher. Tell them anything you need to tell them. Sometimes your parents will get mad, but that's not because they're mad at you for having mental health problems, but sometimes they're just mad at themselves, that they feel like they couldn't do more. That's how it was with my mom. So I just got out of the hospital. I was there for a week. I just got out yesterday at 11 a.m. And I'm going to be talking about something that I wasn't ready to talk about before, and that is how I was treated with Tourette syndrome on the worst day of my life. So you would think the worst day of my life is finding out that my father was dead. You think that the worst day of my life was being diagnosed with Tourette syndrome and knowing that my entire life changed. You think that my worst day would be the days that I thought I wasn't worth living. But this was the worst day of my life because I was helpless and I was harmed by the people who were supposed to be helping me. I had a good friend, we're going to call him Alan. Big guy, super kind, looked like Jesus. And he was in the hospital because he was experiencing similar things to me and he needed help. Now, one of the things I feel bad about is when the wounded try to help the other wounded, which is me. I feel bad when I take from other people. I feel bad. I feel guilty. But the thing is, I'm willing to help too. And sometimes we just have to support each other. But this is about a time where I was horribly abused in the hospital, and even Alan couldn't help me because they were stopping him from getting to my room. They were talking about calling guards and security. This is what happened. I had a terrible tic attack. I had a whole episode. We didn't know if it was a psychogenic non-epileptic seizure. We didn't know what it was. I fell in the hallway and I almost hit my head. They helped move me to my bed where the seizure tic attack thing continued for 15 minutes. I had a sitter, which means that I had a one-on-one, which means that I wasn't trusted enough to be alone because of something stupid I did in the contraband I had in my room. This sitter, I only say her weight because it's important to the story, was roughly 350 pounds. I have a chest thumping tic, and she didn't like it. She knows nothing about Tourette syndrome. We had met at 7 a.m. It was now noon. She didn't know me. She didn't know my diagnosis. She didn't know anything about it. So she decided, he's alerting because I'm anxious. So she decided what she was going to do was to put all her weight against my hands on my chest and call for the nurses. 3 nurses came, 3 techs came. Basically everyone was on the floor, was in my room. I was restrained by this woman for over an hour. And I can't swallow well when I have attacks, so I needed a shot of Ativan. But the doctor wasn't on the floor, and neither was the resident doctor. The only thing they could provide me was Visceral, which is an anti-anxiety medication. I couldn't swallow it. They put it in my tongue, and I couldn't swallow it, so they started pouring water down my throat and pouring water down my throat to the point I threw up on myself. They then took a spork, picked the pill out of my vomit, and put it back in my mouth, and closed my mouth until I swallowed. This is abuse. This is terrible. I was screaming for help, and Alan was trying to come get to my room. I was screaming. I was stomping my foot on the headboard. I was the footboard, and I was banging my head, and I was doing anything I could to make noise to get my doctor to come, but he wasn't there. He was on a different unit in the psych ward. I felt miserable. I felt like I wasn't a person. I felt like I truly wanted to die because the people who were supposed to be helping me were hurting me. I mean, the restraint hurt. They were grabbing my ankles. They were forcing me down. They were forcing pills on me. They waterboarded me. Hello, that's like a war crime. And finally my doctor came, and he came running into the room, and he said, "Stop, stop, I'm the doctor. Everybody leave, everybody leave." And the nurses and the techs who knew he was my doctor left. And the sitter, I guess she thought she was doing her civic duty by restraining me, said, "I can't leave, I'm the sitter. I can't leave, I'm the sitter." And he said, "You can leave, I'm the doctor." At which point my resident doctor came, and Dr. Iron Them, as I call them, because they, them pronouns, we stand that, came in and held my hand and comforted me as I cried. I was no longer covered in vomit because they changed me out into different hospital gowns. And when I looked down on my chest, there was a big bruise. Good boy. This is abuse. This can never happen again. And it didn't happen while I was in the hospital, but I did confront the nurse who did it. I said, "Hi, I'm May Sullivan. Do you remember torturing me on October 1st? She didn't remember. It made no impact to her. It made no difference in her day. But here I am a year later, still thinking about it. I love you all. Remember, you can always talk. Send me an email. I write within like a day or two, if I'm not in the hospital. And I'm planning on never going back. But there is no shame in going to the hospital. If you need help, get it. Love you all. Bye.